Hello, everyone. I am your accounts teacher Akanksha. Welcome to our lesson on partnership accounts. Today we will discuss the accounting treatment of Workmen Compensation Reserve. You will get a comprehensive overview of the Workmen Compensation Reserve, covering its meaning, accounting treatment, and key considerations for various reconstitution scenarios. Let's start with understanding the meaning of Workmen Compensation Reserve in a step-by-step manner. Who is a workman? It refers to any employee working for a firm, regardless of their role or level. It includes all individuals employed by the company. What is compensation? The amount paid to someone who has suffered a loss due to another person's actions. It covers the financial burden incurred due to the loss. Let's take an example to understand this better. Suppose few children are playing cricket. While playing, they break the glass of neighbor's window by the ball. Neighbor has incurred a loss due to action of children. The parents of the children should pay money to the neighbor to replace the window glass. The money paid by the parents to the neighbor in this case is an example of compensation. Now let's take an example of workman compensation. An employee suffered an accident and got injured at the office or factory where he is working. He goes to a doctor for treatment and spend 10,000 rupees on his medical treatment and medicines. Here employee has suffered a loss due to his employer. This is due to the fact that it is the employer responsibility to ensure safe working conditions at office or factory for all employees. Hence employer will pay 10,000 rupees to the employee for the loss. The 10,000 rupees paid by employer partnership firm to the injured employee is known as workman compensation claim. Workman compensation is the financial compensation or money paid by an employer to an employee who suffers an injury at the workplace. It covers medical expenses and other related costs. Next, we come to the meaning of a reserve. It is a portion of profits set aside by a firm to cover unforeseen and unexpected expenses. It acts as a buffer for unexpected financial obligations. Let's understand this better. No one knows when any accident can happen in future. Employer understands that if an accident happens sometimes in future, then he has to give compensation to the employee. So he keeps some money separate out of the firm's profits to meet this probable liability that may arise in future. Summing up the learnings of the previous slides, we come to the meaning of Workmen Compensation Reserve. It is a portion of profits kept in a separate account by a firm. This is to cover unforeseen medical expenses payable to any employee, to compensate him for any injury suffered by the employee at the workplace. The purpose of creating Workmen Compensation Reserve is to ensure that a firm has sufficient funds to cover potential workmen compensation claims. It serves as a financial safety net for unexpected workplace injuries. Next, we come to the accounting treatment of Workmen Compensation Reserve. First, we will discuss the journal entry. The Workmen Compensation Reserve is created by the journal entry where profit and loss appropriation account gets debited and the Workmen Compensation Reserve account gets credited. Profit and loss appropriation account is debited whenever any appropriation is done. Workmen Compensation Reserve is credited as reserves are increasing. In the balance sheet, the reserve created will be shown on the liability side. Every year it will be shown on the liability side till it is closed. The Workmen Compensation Reserve is closed in the following two cases. First, when some claim arises. The reserve is always first used for making payment of claim if any. Second, if some amount is left in the reserve after meeting the workman compensation claim, then it is distributed among partners. This is done at the time of reconstitution of the partnership firm, like admission, retirement, death, or change in profit-sharing ratio among the partners. On the next slides, we will discuss various cases of closure of Workmen Compensation Reserve. There can be 5 different cases for accounting treatment of Workmen Compensation Reserve. Case 1. Where no claim exists. Case 2. Where question is silent on the claim. Case 3. where claim amount is equal to reserve amount. Case 4. Where claim amount is less than reserve amount. Case 5. Where claim amount is greater than reserve amount. We will discuss each of the above cases one by one. Case 1. Where no claim exists on the date of reconstitution of firm. In this case, the entire amount is left in the reserve. The entire reserve is distributed among the partners, in their old profit-sharing ratio. The journal entry will be: Workmen compensation reserve account gets debited and partners capital account gets credited. The amount is distributed among the partners in the old ratio. In case of admission, the amount is distributed among the old partners only. In other types of reconstitution like retirement, death, and change in profit-sharing ratio, the amount is distributed among all the partners. In the partner capital account, the amount will be shown on the credit side. In the new balance sheet, workmen compensation reserve will not come, as it is fully distributed among the partners. Case 2. Where question is silent on claim. The question gives no information on the amount of claim. In such questions, we will assume that there is no claim. The accounting treatment will be exactly same as in the previous case 1. The journal entry will be: Workmen compensation reserve account gets debited and partners capital account gets credited. The amount is distributed among the partners in the old ratio. In case of admission, the amount is distributed among the old partners. In other types of reconstitution like retirement, death, and change in profit-sharing ratio, the amount is distributed among all partners. In the partner capital account, the amount will be shown on the credit side. In the new balance sheet, workmen compensation reserve will not come, as it is fully distributed among the partners. Case 3. Where workmen compensation claim exists, and workmen compensation claim is equal to workmen compensation reserve. In this case, the whole reserve is used to create a liability for the claim, with no portion left for distribution among the partners. The journal entry will be: Workmen compensation reserve account gets debited, and workmen compensation claim account gets credited. There is no impact in the partner's capital account, as nothing is left for distribution among the partners. In the new balance sheet, workmen compensation claim will be shown on the liability side. Workmen compensation reserve will not be shown in balance sheet, as it is fully used in creation of liability for claim. Case 4. Where workmen compensation claim exist, and workmen compensation claim is less than workmen compensation reserve. In this case, the reserve is used to create a liability for the claim, and the excess reserve distributed among the partners. The journal entry will be: Workmen compensation reserve account gets debited with the amount of reserve. Workmen compensation claim account gets credited with the amount of claim. The partner's capital account gets credited. The total amount credited to partners will be reserve amount minus claim amount. In case of admission, the amount is distributed among the old partners. In other types of reconstitution, like retirement, death, and change in profit-sharing ratio, the amount is distributed among all partners. In the partner capital account, the amount will be shown on the credit side. In the new balance sheet, workmen compensation claim will be shown on the liability side. Workmen compensation reserve will not come in the new balance sheet, as it is fully used in making liability for claim, and the balance reserve is distributed among the partners. Case 5. Where workmen compensation claim exists, and workmen compensation claim is greater than workmen compensation reserve. In this case, the reserve is used to create a liability for the claim. The excess of the claim over the reserve is debited to the revaluation account. The journal entry will be: Workmen compensation reserve account gets debited with the amount of reserve, as the reserve is decreasing. Revaluation account gets debited. The amount will be claim amount minus reserve amount. Workmen compensation claim account gets credited with the full amount of claim. There is no impact in the partner's capital account, as nothing is left for distribution among the partners. In the revaluation account, it will be shown on the debit side. The amount will be claim amount minus reserve amount. In the new balance sheet, workman compensation claim will be shown on the liability side. Workman compensation reserve will not come in the new balance sheet, as it is fully used in making liability for claim. Let's discuss some key points to remember the workman compensation reserve entries in a better manner. First, the workman compensation reserve is always debited in all accounting entries related to its closure. Second, the workman compensation claim account is always credited. Also note that it is credited only when a claim exists. Third, where reserve amount is greater than claim amount, the excess amount of reserve is credited to partner's capital account. Fourth, if fixed capital method is followed, then use partner current account in all the entries, instead of partner capital account. Fifth, the accounting treatment of the workman compensation reserve is same in case of admission, retirement, death, and change in profit-sharing ratio questions. Only difference is in distribution of excess reserves among the partners. In case of admission, the excess reserves distributed among old partners. In case of retirement, death, and change in profit-sharing ratio questions, the excess is distributed among all the partners. That's all for this video on workman compensation reserve. In the next video, we will discuss an example question on workman compensation reserve, covering all the scenarios. Thanks for watching. Have a great day ahead.